What's up, guys? It's me. I'm back, and today I'm gonna do a top 10 video or top 19, as you probably guessed by looking at the thumbnail and the title. But hey, today it's my birthday, and yeah, guess what age I'm turning? But this I wanted to do a just listing up my 19 favorite games of all time. I was gonna do this last year when I turned 18, but I ended up just getting lazy and I never ended up doing it. But that's going to change. So starting up is The Last of Us. I don't have this game physically, so I'm not gonna pull it up right now. But yeah, it's pretty simple answer. This game's it's just really good. It's fun to play. The characters are really good. Really good story. I never played the multiplayer, but I really like the story, and I think It's just really fun. I actually like the game. A lot of people don't like the gameplay, but I do. And next up, Resident Evil for the GameCube. This is the remake that came out back in 2002. They remade the original Resident Evil for the GameCube, and it's really scary. Like, no joke, this is the scariest game that I've ever played. The fixed cameras and the tank controls made this really scary. Especially some of the monsters. There's some monsters I don't really want to talk about because I don't want anyone to be spoiled about what's in the game. But there's certain monsters in here, when they first appear, they're the scariest things ever. And they make the game way scarier, more tense. But yeah, it's just a really great remake. I think it's definitely the scariest Resident Evil. And yeah, I said it was the scariest horror game I've ever played. And next up, continuing with horror, I have Manhunt. I don't have a physical copy of this one either. But yeah, this game's if you can handle it, you should definitely go play it. It's available on PS4, PS5, and PC. But don't get the PC port; it doesn't work. But yeah, it's a game by Rockstar. Back when they used to make games, it's like 2003 is when it came out. It's a really violent, really scary stealth game, but it's really fun. Even though it's really brutal, like if you can handle it, it's a really fun stealth game because there's really challenging because you have to sneak around and kill the enemies before they catch you. It's a really fun game, even though it is pretty violent. Moving on, I have Halo 3. This is my favorite Halo game. This one's really fun. Like, this one's just such a cool game. The scale of this game is unlike any other. It's really disappointing that Halo Infinite, when they were promoting the game, it looked like it was going to be Halo 3 again. But there was none of the scale, none of the epic feelings you felt in Halo 3 or in Infinite, which was disappointing. Because that game has some of my favorite gaming moments ever. Like when I think it was a Forward Unto Dawn, when that first appears, when it flies in, that's one of super cool. Or when you fight the two Scarabs near the end, one of the coolest fights ever. Just the scale of these fights are so large that you really feel like you're in a war, and it's really fun. And next up is Batman Arkham City. This is part of the Arkham series, and it's my favorite game out of all of them. I really like Arkham City and Arkham Origins. I haven't played Arkham Knight, but I really like Arkham City. Out of all of them, that one was my favorite. I really like how the world is. The world isn't too big, so you can get around to it really fast, which is pretty fun. Because when I played Arkham Origins, the map's really large, so trying to get around to it was kind of annoying because you had to always be fast traveling, or just stay within one area because trying to travel from one side to the other would take forever. But yeah, Arkham City has some of the best boss fights for any superhero game. I actually think the best because another game that's coming up is really fun. It's more fun than Arkham, but the boss fights are nowhere near as good as Arkham's gameplay and boss fights. But yeah, it's a really good game. I really like it. Next up is Demon's Souls. I really like this game. This is my first FromSoft game. I really enjoy it. I played Elden Ring. I haven't finished that yet, so I'm not gonna rank it just yet, just because I haven't finished. I'm planning on making a video on both this game and the Elden Ring in the future. It's just gonna take a while because those games are long. But yeah, I really like Demon's Souls. It's still hard, but it's one of the easiest Souls games, but it's still hard. So it's really challenging to get through. It's really fun to play because in this game there's no bonfires or sites of grace, so there's nowhere to pause. It's just you have a save point at the end of the game and at the end of the fight and at the beginning of the level. It's really fun and I really like it. And coming up is Apex. Yeah, you can probably tell by all the videos I posted how much I like Apex. But yeah, Apex is definitely my favorite multiplayer game, online multiplayer game. It's just really fun, just because I really like the gameplay. The gunplay feels really good. The character abilities are really fun to play with. There's a bunch of things to do. There's all the maps. It's really fun, and I really like the game. I think it's really fun, even though I can get bored of it sometimes just because I play too much. But next up is Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. This game is really really fun. It's really really hard at times just because I ramped up the difficulty when I was playing. But the boss fights are so cool. They're different from like Demon Souls, because Demon Souls it's more like the boss fights are really challenging and but they're really cool as well. Like there's a lot of spectacle. Just the overall fighting of Metal Gear Rising is so much fun. There's not a lot of games that do it where it's like cinematic as well. So you'll be fighting and then you can like block an attack at the perfect time and it'll do like a little QTE, and it's so much fun. It's a really fun game. And it can get really hard, especially the final boss. But against Senator Armstrong, it's so cool. But it took me forever to beat it. But it was really fun. I really liked the game. And next up, Resident Evil 4. This is the remake. I do really like the original, but I prefer the remake more just because the controls are like a lot faster and there's more things to do in this game. Like I really like how you can do side quests for the merchant now. That gives you way more things to do like in the world while you're playing. It makes the game really really fun. I also like the more weapons they added, and the graphics are really, really good, so that always helps. And yeah, I just really like it. They removed some of the more annoying things about the original, like some of the QTEs got a bit annoying. You just be running and there's just a bunch of QTEs going on. And yeah, that game got rid of most of these. And then they also introduced parrying through Resident Evil and crouching, which was really, really cool because parrying makes like fights go so much faster. It makes them more exciting because you can block attacks and keep yourself alive for longer, which you can't do that in like the other Resident Evil games. But yeah, I just really liked the remake. I thought it was really, really fun. And next up, I have GTA 4. This is the first GTA game of this list. There's more. Prepare. But yeah, this game's really, really fun. I really like this one the most. Like, I prefer this one over 5 and a few others. But yeah, I just really enjoy it. A lot of people don't like the driving in the game. Like, the physics are kind of messed up. But I actually really like it. I think it's fun. Because when you're getting into car chases, like, the cars feel heavy. So when you're driving around and trying to avoid the cops, like, it feels more tense. Just because if you're not driving correctly, you can easily crash and then lose control, and it just makes the fights really intense. Also, the shooting in the game is my favorite out of any GTA game. 5 changed the physics up a bit for like NPCs, so it's not as reactive. Because the GTA 4, if you shoot someone in the leg, they'll limp and they'll reach down for it. So it's really cool, like seeing how intense the gunfights get. Like, you'll be shooting people and they'll like fall back. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's really, like, it feels kind of messed up to say, but it's so how realistic it is. But it makes the gunfights really exciting because that applies to you too. If you get shot too much or like hit with a car, like, your character will stumble and it's like you're like panicking as you're trying to get your character to get ready. It's really fun. I haven't played the DLC yet. I still need to play that, but I really like this game. I'm not a big fan of Liberty City that much just because the graphics are kind of bad on the game. Like, I know a lot of people like it, but I really don't like the muted colors. But I do like the game overall. And next up is Max Payne 3, another Rockstar game. There's gonna be more, just you wait. But yeah, this is probably the most fun game, like one of the most fun games ever. Like, this one's just so much fun. I don't really care much for the story or like anything, or the multiplayer. I never played the multiplayer, but the gameplay is so much fun that I'll just go back in and replay like large chunks of the game just because the gameplay is really fun. Like, I don't even care much about experiencing the story again or just doing or trying to get achievements. I just want to go in and play. Like, it's one of the pick up and play games I can always go back to. Like, no matter what, it's just fun to go back to. And it's really fun to play. Next up, Wii Sports. Yeah, that's it. It's just Wii Sports. Next up is Spider-Man PS4. I have the Miles Morales box up because I have the Ultimate Edition, so I got a code for the remastered game. So yeah, I don't have a physical copy of the first game. But yeah, I like Miles Morales as well, but there's just more things to do in the first Spider-Man game. And yeah, it's really fun. It's my favorite superhero game. It's just a ton of fun because the world is really nice to explore. New York City looks really, really good. The graphics, the art style, everything looks great. I really like the web swinging. It's a little simple. Like there's not as much tricks you can do like in some of the older Spider-Man games, but it's really really cool. The combat is really fun. Like I really like how the combat is. The boss fights are a little bit disappointing. Like I said when I was talking about Arkham games, Batman Arkham City. But yeah, I still really like the game. The stories what I really love. This story for this game is probably one of the best Spider-Man stories ever. Like even the movies and books, I really really enjoy it. I love I love the characters and I love the way the story turns because like there's a bunch of shifts like in the story. Like everything looks normal, and then something happens and it changes everything up and it makes it more exciting. And yeah, it's my favorite superhero game and favorite Spider-Man game. And next up, Bully. I don't have a box for this one either, but yeah, this is one of my favorite games ever. It's really underrated in my opinion. I really love Bully. Like it's such a fun game and it's really funny and it's lighthearted as well. It's not the most. It's not as violent or inappropriate like the other Rockstar games. Like it's one of their few T-rated games other than Midnight Club. But yeah, it's really fun. I really love it. I haven't played. I've played it on the phone, embarrassingly. I don't have it on the Xbox, but I really love the story, the characters. Jimmy's like one of my favorite protagonists ever. He's really, really fun. I really like the world because the world's not too big, so it's fun to explore. And there's like some collectibles you can find, and all the groups within the game are really fun. Like the jocks, greasers, the rich kids, and the nerds. They're all distinct, and it's all really funny to see how Jimmy interacts with them throughout the game. But yeah, it's super underrated. I feel like this one should have gone a sequel way longer, but it got canceled unfortunately. But yeah, and keeping up with Rockstar Games, we have GTA 3. There you go. Yeah, this is like one of the first games I ever played. Like I just remember this game. My uncle had a PS2 and I would play this like at my grandma's house, and it was so much fun. One of my favorite games ever. It's still super fun to go back to, even though there's a bunch of issues with it. Like the cop AI is crazy. They'll run into you no matter what. They don't stop, park, get out of the car and start trying to shoot you. No, they just straight up ram right into you and send you flying. And the driving physics are also really exciting just because every time you crash, your car will like flip. The physics are really crazy. And yeah, I really like that game. The world is really small. It's not as big as it's like the smallest map out of all the GTA games. So it's really easy to memorize the streets and how to go around the city. And it's just really fun. The shooting is like the worst part about the game, like in terms of the gameplay, just because it's really unbalanced. But I still really like it. It's one of my favorite GTA games. Also, the story's not that good, but it's just fun. It's like probably the easiest GTA game to just go in and start going crazy, just because like it's just like there's not as much there's nothing much about it. It's super simple and it's really fun. And moving on, we have Silent Hill 2. This is the most expensive game I own. I'm not going to see how much it cost me. But definitely, it's my favorite horror game. Probably one, well, I wouldn't say favorite yet. There's other horror games that I really like. It's kind of hard to choose. But yeah, this is a really, really good horror game. It's one of the scariest by far. Like, it's really scary, really disturbing. The atmosphere is unlike any other game. Like, it's even worse the atmosphere is even scarier than Resident Evil on the GameCube. Because on this, for the atmosphere in Silent Hill 2 is unlike any other. The music, the town of Silent Hill itself is really unique and it's really scary. I really, really enjoy it. The story is the best part though. It's definitely the best story in any horror game I've ever played. It's probably even my favorite story in a video game ever. It's just really, really good. I don't want to talk too much about it just because if you haven't ever played it, I think you should probably play it if you can, because this is a really hard game to get. But you can emulate it on the PC if you ever feel like it. But yeah, this is a great game. All the monsters in the game are really, really well designed. The graphics are actually pretty good considering it's like 22 years at this point. Like it turned 22 like 2 days ago as I was recording this video. And yeah, it's not the most fun to play, but the story and the atmosphere make up for it big time. It's genuinely one of the greatest games ever made. And moving on, we have Doom Eternal. I have the Steelbook case. I don't have the actual game. I just found this at Best Buy, and I thought it was cool, so I just bought it. But yeah, Doom Eternal is a game I always come back to. I've beat it like 4 times already, and twice on Nightmare mode, and it's so much fun. I never get sick of that game. That game is always just so much fun to play. It's exciting, unlike any other game I've ever played before. The game is so fast and so action packed. Like you never have a chance to rest. Like keep getting thrown into the action each and every time. Like there's not like a long stretch of downtime to a point where you can get bored. The game always throws new things at you. It's always challenging. Even in the DLC, like the DLC like that they have for the game, like the Ancient Gods, it's still really hard. Even if you master the game, it can still be really really hard to play, and that just shows. And it's never like unfair. Like every time you die, it's because you did something wrong. And that's what I really like about the game. It's really exciting and it's really really fun. It's my favorite Doom game out of all of them, and I really like the fourth one, which is the one before this one. And next up, second place, we have Resident Evil 2. Yeah, this might be my favorite horror game ever, just because I really like it's just because it's between this one and Silent Hill, but this game is definitely my favorite Resident Evil. It's the most fun for me just because I prefer the more survival horror like gameplay of this game compared to 4, because 4 is more action focused, and so you're not really you're not struggling as much for resources, and it's not as nearly as tense when it comes to keeping your resources in check. But this game is unlike any other. This game gets really scary at points, especially when you play on harder difficulties. The game gets really difficult because you have a hard time finding ammo. You can die really easily, and it's unlike any. It's definitely one of the scariest Resident Evil. If the remake for the original game is much scarier, but I really, really enjoy Resident Evil 2, and it's really fun. I've probably beat that game like 8 times, like both Leon and Claire. And it's really, really fun. I actually really like it. One of my favorite games ever. And finally, best game ever made. There's no debate. You say it's not the best game over, you're wrong. And this is GTA San Andreas. Definitely the best. The best. Hold on, the glare's messing it up. Definitely the best GTA game ever. Favorite Rockstar game as well. Even more than Bully, and I really like Bully. And yeah, this game just is perfect for me. I love it. It's so much fun. The world is massive. And a lot of people complain that the world is too big for its own good. Like, it gets hard to navigate. But once you've played it as much as I have, you know, like, ways to do it so you can go through the map as fast as possible. Like, you know all the shortcuts. I've played this game so much, I recognize most of the street names. Like, I can go driving and I can recognize a street name just by looking at it. And yeah, this game is huge. It has 3 cities, which is unlike any other GTA game I've ever played. And yeah, it's fun. Like, I love the music. The music is definitely my favorite out of all the GTA games. I really like the 90s rap, the 90s pop. They even have a few 90s rock music and alternative that I like. And they also have some older like hip hop songs, which I really, really like. And yeah, main thing for me that I really love is the characters. I love basically all the side characters in this game. CJ's the main character, but some of the side characters like Woozie, The Truth, Big Smoke, Tenpenny, all really, really good characters. Even though some of them are villains, they're still really well played. I mean, they have Samuel Jackson for the villain. Like, come on. Like, you can't beat that. That's like the best villain in any GTA game. Yeah, the gameplay is also like the least dated of the original trilogy because they added a lock on and they actually allowed you to crouch while shooting. So it makes the shooting a little bit more complex instead of as simple as and unfair as the GTA Vice City and 3. And then the driving is really fun because it's not nearly as floaty as it is in GTA 3 or as heavy as it is in GTA 4. And it's just like the perfect balance for me for driving. Only other game that did driving better than this game is probably GTA 5. And yeah, this is still my favorite game. Like, I've played this game probably 7 times. Like, even 100% completed it, which is insane because there's a ton of things to do in this game, which I really like. Like, there's a ton of things you can do. Like, you're not just limited to just story missions. There's a ton of side missions, and a lot of them are really fun. Like, there's the races. There's some of the vehicle missions are really fun. Vigilante gets really fun, but it gets really hard at later points. There's things like stadium events, like monster truck arenas you can go to, and it's just really, really fun. Like, it's my favorite game ever, and I don't think it's ever gonna change, unless if GTA 6 somehow manages to be better. Oh, and an even better thing about this game is you have stats in the game. So if you really wanted, you can go to the Clucking Bell or Burger Shot or or Wellside Pizza, any of the food places, and you can just start eating food over and over and over again, and you can get CJ super fat, and it's the funniest thing ever, because his voice lines change when he gets fat. Like of course you start, your stamina is a lot less because you're just too fat, and it's funny because CJ's lines will reflect that. Like if you fail certain missions as Fat CJ, the characters will like call you and tell you to lose weight, and it's just funny. But yeah, I really like this game. I hope that the new GTA games bring more things from this game into them, like burglaries missions and some of the stadium events and just the stats overall. But yeah, this is still my favorite GTA game and my favorite game ever. Like, I love it. Favorite game ever. Never change. But yeah, that's it. I went on for a while. Yeah, I have my headphones on this time. I forgot to say that. Just because I recorded my video with the camera by itself last time, and the audio was really bad. So I decided to use these headphones so I can use the microphone more. And so hopefully the audio sounds better if I'm not talking too loud and the audio doesn't get lost. But yeah, it was my birthday today, so I wanted to do this video since I never did it last year. And yeah, that's it. See ya.